I am General Mark Milley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest military position in the United States. For 40 years, I have served this nation, commanding forces in the world's most dangerous places, advising presidents during their darkest hours, and keeping secrets that could change the course of history. But tonight, I'm going to break the most sacred rule of my profession. I'm going to tell you about something that was never supposed to see the light of day. Something so dangerous, so deeply buried, that sharing it could end my career or worse. 3 months ago, I discovered that someone within my inner circle, someone I trusted with my life, someone who knew America's most classified secrets, had been living a lie so perfect, so carefully constructed, that it fooled every security check, every psychological evaluation, every test we had. This is the story of Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen. But more than that, it's the story of how I learned that, in the world of military intelligence, the person sitting next to you in the most secure room in America might be your greatest enemy. What I'm about to reveal happened just 72 hours ago, and I'm telling you this not because I want to, but because if I don't, what happened to me could happen to any leader, anywhere, at any time. Because the truth is, we're all just one betrayal away from losing everything we've sworn to protect. I remember the exact moment my world changed forever. It was October 12th, 11:23 p.m. I was alone in my office, reviewing intelligence reports that could never be shared with the public when my secure phone rang. The voice on the other end belonged to Agent Patricia Rodriguez from the FBI's most classified division, a unit so secret that most FBI agents don't even know it exists. "General," she said, and I could hear something in her voice that I'd never heard before. Fear. "There's been an incident involving Colonel Chen. But, sir, this isn't what it appears to be. What we've discovered is going to shake the Pentagon to its foundation." For 3 years, Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen had been my most trusted intelligence advisor. She sat in meetings where we discussed operations that could start or end wars. She had access to satellite imagery that revealed the movements of every major military force on Earth. She knew the locations of assets so sensitive that their discovery could trigger international incidents. I trusted her with intelligence that could topple governments, disrupt economies, and reshape the global balance of power. She had clearance levels that even some generals don't possess. When I traveled to classified locations around the world, she was one of only 3 people authorized to accompany me. When foreign leaders shared their most sensitive concerns, she was there taking notes that could never be written down officially. But Agent Rodriguez was about to tell me something that would make me question everything I thought I knew about trust, loyalty, and the people we allow into our most sacred spaces. "Sir," Rodriguez continued, "the attack on Colonel Chen tonight, she orchestrated it herself, and that's just the beginning of what we've uncovered." The silence that followed her words was deafening. In my decades of military service, I had received news of casualties, defeats, and strategic failures. But nothing had prepared me for the possibility that one of my closest advisors had been systematically betraying everything we stood for. How long have you suspected? I asked, my voice barely steady. 6 months, sir, but we needed to be absolutely certain before making any accusations. What we've discovered goes far beyond what we initially imagined. Within an hour, I found myself in a facility so classified that it doesn't appear on any Pentagon directory. Located 3 levels beneath the main building, this facility houses our most sensitive counterintelligence operations. The walls are lined with equipment designed to detect any form of electronic surveillance, and the air itself seems to carry the weight of national secrets. What I saw there changed everything I believed about security, about loyalty, about the very people I trusted with America's survival. Rodriguez led me to a conference room where dozens of documents, photographs, and computer screens displayed evidence of a betrayal so comprehensive that it took my breath away. This woman, brilliant, decorated, trusted by presidents and generals alike, had been living a double life so sophisticated that it took our best counterintelligence specialists 3 months to uncover it. And what they found was worse than any enemy infiltration we'd ever imagined. For 18 months, Chen had been selling our most classified information to the highest bidder. Not to one country, not to a single enemy, but to anyone willing to pay. She was a mercenary operating at the highest levels of American military command, treating state secrets like commodities in a global marketplace. The scope of her betrayal was staggering. She had provided detailed intelligence on American troop movements in Eastern Europe, compromising operations that were months in the planning. She had shared satellite reconnaissance of Chinese military installations, intelligence so sensitive that even our closest allies weren't privy to it. She had leaked diplomatic communications between the United States and NATO allies, revealing strategic disagreements that could undermine decades of carefully built relationships. $5 million. That's what she earned selling American secrets. Money hidden in accounts across 12 countries, payments disguised as legitimate business transactions, a financial network so complex it took forensic accountants weeks to trace. But the money trail revealed something even more disturbing. This wasn't a recent development. Chen had been building this network for over 2 years, methodically establishing connections with foreign intelligence services while maintaining her spotless record within the Pentagon. But the money wasn't the worst part. The worst part was what those secrets cost. 3 CIA agents in Eastern Europe, dead because of information she provided. Their names were Thomas Morrison, Angela Vasquez, and David Kim. Morrison left behind a wife and 2 young children. Vasquez was 3 months from retirement. Kim was planning to propose to his girlfriend when he returned from his assignment. Special operations compromised in Africa, where American soldiers barely escaped with their lives because enemy forces knew exactly where and when they would strike. Diplomatic negotiations sabotaged before they even began, as foreign governments gained access to our negotiating positions weeks in advance. She didn't just betray her country. She got people killed, good people, patriots who died never knowing that their deaths were caused by someone wearing the same uniform they had sworn to honor. You want to know what's truly terrifying? Chen wasn't recruited by foreign agents. She approached them. She analyzed our security protocols, identified weaknesses, and systematically exploited them. She turned treason into a business model, treating classified intelligence like stocks in a portfolio. The psychological profile that emerged during the investigation painted a picture of someone who had been planning this betrayal almost from the moment she gained access to classified material. Chen had studied the careers of successful double agents throughout history, analyzing their methods and learning from their mistakes. She had deliberately cultivated relationships with foreign diplomats at embassy functions, gradually building a network of contacts who could facilitate her eventual transition into espionage. For 3 years, I thought I knew her. She attended my staff meetings every morning at 0600 hours, arriving 15 minutes early with coffee and a briefing folder that never contained anything but legitimate intelligence. She briefed me on intelligence that could change the world, speaking with the confidence and authority that had earned her rapid promotions through the ranks. She knew my family, had attended barbecues at my house, had shared meals at my table where we discussed everything from military strategy to our favorite books. She was godmother to my youngest daughter, a role I had offered her after watching her interact with children during a family day event at the Pentagon. My wife considered her almost like the daughter we never had, all while photographing classified documents in my own office with a camera hidden in her Pentagon ID badge, all while recording our most sensitive conversations with a device so sophisticated that it could capture clear audio from across a large room, all while planning to fake her own death and disappear forever with enough blood money to live like a queen. The technical sophistication of her operation was breathtaking. Chen had access to equipment that would have impressed professional intelligence agencies. Hidden cameras no larger than a pinhead, recording devices that could operate for weeks without recharging. Encryption software that took NSA specialists days to crack. But perhaps most disturbing was how she had manipulated human relationships to further her espionage activities. Chen had deliberately cultivated friendships with other intelligence officers, using these relationships to gain access to information beyond her official clearance level. She had volunteered for additional assignments that would give her access to new categories of classified material. She had even recommended colleagues for promotions, knowing that their gratitude would make them more likely to share sensitive information with her. The fake assassination attempt was her masterpiece. She hired professionals to stage an attack that would give her a plausible reason to disappear. These weren't common criminals. They were former Special Operations soldiers who had been discharged under questionable circumstances and were now working as private contractors in the shadow world of deniable operations. She would die as a hero, a victim of foreign enemies targeting American intelligence officers while actually escaping with a new identity and millions of dollars. The plan included false death certificates, staged crime scene evidence, and even a fake funeral that would have been attended by Pentagon leadership including myself. But she made one mistake, one tiny error that brought down her entire operation. In security footage from the parking garage where the attack took place, you can see her check her watch exactly 17 seconds before the attack begins. She was timing it. She knew exactly when it would happen because she had choreographed every detail. Our behavioral analysts studied that footage for hours, noting other subtle indicators that the attack was staged. Chen's defensive posture was too perfect, too practiced. Her injuries, while appearing serious, avoided any damage to vital organs or major blood vessels. Even her screams seemed calculated to attract attention without conveying genuine terror. The investigation into the staged attack led to the discovery of the broader espionage network. When we arrested the men who had carried out the fake assassination, they provided information that allowed us to unravel months of carefully planned betrayal. Bank records, communication logs, travel patterns, everything pointed to a conspiracy that reached far beyond a single rogue officer. At 3:17 a.m., I walked into her hospital room. The scene was carefully arranged to support her cover story. She was lying there, playing the role of the wounded hero, complete with staged injuries and a corrupt doctor helping with her deception. Dr. Michael Torres, a former military physician who had been recruited into Chen's network through gambling debts, had falsified her medical records and was prepared to provide false testimony about her condition. When she saw me, her face lit up with what I thought was relief. Even knowing what I knew, even armed with irrefutable evidence of her betrayal, part of me wanted to believe that there had been some terrible mistake. "General," she said weakly, and even her voice was perfectly modulated to convey just the right amount of pain and vulnerability. "Thank God you're here. Someone tried to kill me. I think it's because of our work on the classified projects." I looked at this woman, someone I had considered almost like a daughter, and I had to decide whether to confront her directly or play along with her game. Every instinct told me to give her a chance to explain, to provide some innocent explanation for what appeared to be damning evidence. But the faces of Thomas Morrison, Angela Vasquez, and David Kim flashed through my mind. I chose confrontation. "Sarah," I said, using her first name as I had hundreds of times before, "I know what you've done. I know about the money, the secrets you've sold, the lives you've destroyed, and I know this attack was fake." The transformation was immediate and chilling. The mask came off in an instant. The frightened victim disappeared, replaced by someone I had never seen before. Someone calculating, ruthless, completely without remorse. Her eyes, which moments before had seemed filled with pain and confusion, now showed nothing but cold calculation. "You have no idea what it's like," she said, her voice filled with venom that seemed to come from years of suppressed resentment. "You sit in your comfortable office making decisions that affect millions, while people like me do the real work for a fraction of the recognition or compensation." "You're talking about compensation?" I asked, struggling to understand how someone could justify betraying their country for money. "You've been well paid, well treated, given opportunities that most officers would kill for." Opportunities to serve others, she spat, to watch generals and politicians take credit for intelligence work that I provided. Do you know what my net worth is compared to yours? Do you know what my retirement will look like compared to what you'll receive? That's when I realized that the woman I thought I knew had never existed. The loyal officer, the trusted advisor, the surrogate daughter, it had all been an act, a performance designed to gain access to the information she could sell. But Chen wasn't working alone. The investigation revealed a network of corruption that stretched from the Pentagon to defense contractors, from military academies to foreign intelligence services. She was part of something much larger, much more dangerous than we had ever imagined. They called it Operation Silent Storm, a systematic infiltration of American military leadership designed to harvest intelligence over years, even decades. Chen was just one operative in a network that had been operating under our noses for longer than we care to admit. The network included current and former military officers, defense contractors with security clearances, and even employees of companies that provided services to classified facilities. They had people in positions to access everything from strategic planning documents to the personal schedules of high-ranking officials. The psychological manipulation was sophisticated beyond anything we'd seen before. They didn't just offer money. They offered purpose. They convinced their targets that they were preventing wars, saving lives, serving a greater good. They turned patriotism into treason and made traitors believe they were heroes. Chen had been recruited through a process that took months to complete. The initial approach came through what appeared to be a think tank studying military decision-making processes. She was invited to participate in academic research that seemed legitimate, even patriotic. Gradually, the requests became more specific, more sensitive, until she was providing classified information while believing she was contributing to scholarly research that would improve American military effectiveness. By the time she realized what she had become involved in, the network had enough evidence of her cooperation to destroy her career and reputation. They gave her a choice: continue working for them willingly, or face exposure and disgrace. She chose to embrace her new role as a professional spy. How many more are there? How many other officers, other officials, other trusted individuals are living double lives right now, selling our secrets while we shake their hands and invite them to our most sensitive meetings? The answer to that question kept me awake for weeks after Chen's arrest. We conducted a comprehensive review of everyone with access to classified information, looking for patterns that might indicate other security breaches. The process was exhaustive and deeply disturbing, as we discovered vulnerabilities in our security protocols that had existed for years. The hardest part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was realizing how blind I had been, how my trust in someone had become a weapon against everything I'd sworn to protect. I prided myself on being a good judge of character, on building relationships based on mutual respect and shared values. Chen's deception forced me to question every interaction I'd had with her over 3 years. After Chen's arrest, I had to question everyone, Every aide, every advisor, every person with access to classified information. I had to look at people I'd known for years and wonder, are you real or are you another performance? The paranoia was necessary but corrosive, poisoning relationships that had taken years to build. Colonel James Patterson, my chief of staff, had worked with me for 5 years. During the investigation, I found myself analyzing his every word, every gesture, looking for signs that he might be deceiving me. Captain Maria Santos, my communications officer, suddenly seemed too eager to volunteer for sensitive assignments. Were these signs of dedication or something more sinister? The psychological toll on everyone was enormous. Officers who had worked together for years began to view each other with suspicion. Routine meetings became exercises in paranoia, as everyone wondered who might be recording conversations or photographing documents. Trust is the foundation of military service. Soldiers